Hey guys, I want to talk to you about vegetable oils. You probably heard in the stratosphere of carnivores and ketogenic diets and paleo and everything in between how these vegetable oils are toxic and enemy number one. And I want to just give you a little bit of a view in general of my opinion, the science, and my preference. So let's start with what they are, right? Vegetable oils are oils that come from seeds, nuts, that come from things like corn, and they are generally cheaper because they are mostly commoditized. So, like sunflower seeds and corn. Corn is a big commodity. It's GMO, and so it's cheap to make, it's cheap to grow, and the byproduct of corn kernels can be fructose syrup and oil. So super cheap and versatile. They are very neutral in taste, and they are unsaturated fats, so they are liquid at room temperature. There is a big movement against these oils as toxic for the body, which is an interesting take because actually science doesn't really show that. Science shows that there is no inflammation when we consume vegetable oils, and that in many trials, the correlation between heart disease and vegetable oils wasn't really there. Now, I am personally not supporting vegetable oils as cooking oils or oils of choice. And that's because, as much as they might not be toxic, I have a preference for not using any oils in my cooking. This is a preference that came up when I was reversing diabetes and I decided to go on a high carb, low fat diet following the Mastering Diabetes program and Dr. Neil Barnard's program. And I felt much better. I also realized that my metabolism itself doesn't work very well with fat in general, and I actually do much better on carbs. I really do. Funny enough, reversing diabetes, but I did reverse it that way. And the reasoning behind it is that when we are having a carbohydrates, and I'm not talking about candy or cakes, I'm talking about whole vegetables and fruit, right? Things with a lot of fiber. We are training the body to become sensitive to insulin, but we're also not putting any obstacles in our body to stop the insulin, or what they call spikes. Now, spikes are normal. They happen when you eat. They even can happen during the night when you sleep. They happen in the morning when your cortisol goes up. So they are normal physiological responses. So making them, I guess, demonizing them is really not a clever way to teach people to be healthy. And again, there's a movement against the spikes. So we have to be reasonable about this. Now, although the science doesn't show that the oils are toxic for you, I prefer not to use them. But there's a caveat here. These oils are found in junk food and in prepackaged food and processed foods because they are cheap. And so when we talk about them being harmful, I think it's in the scope of having a processed food diet. It's not in the scope of you eating a whole food diet and putting some canola oil in your tray of sweet potatoes when you put them in the oven, okay? I think that that's a massive difference. These kind of oils, sunflower oil, corn oil, whatever it is, they are used in processed foods. So in those foods, there is a whole bunch of crap that the body cannot deal with. It's not just the oil. So demonizing the oil and scapegoating the oil just sounds a little bit crazy. So we have to just have that thinking around this. We have to be smart. We have to really, we have to take a moment to be reasonable, in my opinion, okay? Looking at the science, looking at how people normally eat and where these oils are found. The correlation here is that these oils are found in a lot of junk food. Most people that have heart disease will probably consume a lot of that, for the majority, and that a person with a whole food diet using corn oil in their cooking might not actually show any problems with the endothelial tissues and or having any heart disease. So, where do we go here? So the other thing is, I showed my preference. My preference is not to actually have any oils at all. Now, of course, when you go to a restaurant, you can control the chef and the kitchen. You have to kind of eat whatever. But I think that's another topic. How much do we need to eat out, and how much healthier is to actually eat at home? We all know that that's much healthier. We know that that's where we thrive. So that's what we need to do. So I want you to really think about this for yourself and stop. I wish that we didn't have these extreme, sensationalized, taglines online about toxic oils that putrefy your liver. There isn't science that supports that. To be honest with you, there isn't. Maybe there are some observational, but I think again, when you're observing, when it's not a controlled study, the risk is that you're missing out on some parameters, and so we can make an assumption, which is intelligent in science to have that, but it's not the be all, and that we have to be careful on how we approach certain things. So I hope this is clearer. And do I want you to make better choices? Yes. Do I want you to drink and use canola oil, corn oil, or whatever? No, really, don't. And you don't need to. And if you want to sprinkle some olive oil on your food, fresh, by the way, from like extra virgin olive oil, feel free to do that with 1 tablespoon. Remember, 1 tablespoon is 115 to 120 calories. So if you are trying to lose weight healthily, those calories can be done without. And that if you want to saute onions and garlic, you can actually do it with water. Okay, the deglazing method for no oil cooking, which is what I do, is perfectly fine. And trust me, nobody will even notice.